The table you are looking at is a grouped frequency distribution table. The first column of the table gives you the classes. In this question, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 classes. The second column of table gives the frequency for each class. The table shows there are 29 data values fall between 15 to 24. 33 of the data values from the sample fall between 25 to 34. 13 of them are between 35 and 44, 4 of them between 45 and 54, and 2 of them are between 75 to 84. And look at the classes in the first column of the grouped frequency distribution table. The lower class limits refer to the minimum of the classes. Each class gives a range, right? The minimum, the maximum. So those minimum values are the lower class limits. And those maximum values for each class, they are upper class limits. What is the class width? Class width is defined as the distance between any two consecutive lower limits. So we need to look at the table vertically. The distance between 15 and 25 is 10. And the class width can also be defined as the distance between any two consecutive upper limit. As you can see, any two consecutive upper limit is also 10, 44 to 54, right? 64 to 74. So 10 here is the class width. A common mistake is to mistaking the range of each class as the class width. We do not be creative when it comes to a definition. The mathematicians define class width of a grouped frequency distribution table as the difference between any two consecutive lower limits. Also, you can see the distance between any two consecutive upper limits is also the class width. And what is class midpoints? To find the class midpoints, you just need to take the average of the lower limit and the upper limit of each class. For example, the first class midpoint is the average of 15 and 24. You add up 15 and 24 and then divide the sum by 2. So we have the class midpoints here. As you can see, the distance between any two consecutive class midpoints is also 10. 10 is the class width. Then how do we define the class boundaries? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 classes in this table. So you are expecting to have 8. You're gonna have 8 class boundaries. So the boundary between class 1 and class 2, as you can see, the first class ends at 24, the second class starts at 25, right? And the middle between 24 and 25 is 24.5. But that's not the first class boundary. That's just the boundary between class 1 and class 2. We also have a boundary before we start first class. So we minus half from 15. 14.5 is the first boundary. So the distance between those boundaries is also 10. All right, 14.5 and add 10, add 10, add 10, all the way to 84.5. And 84.5 is half bigger than the upper limit of the last class. So those are defined as the boundary. As you can see, we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boundaries. How do we know the sample size? In other words, how do we know the total number of subjects in this survey? And all we need to do is to add up the frequencies. The sum of the frequencies is the sample size.